Hey, you guys, welcome back for another Real Moms. This is a little bit different one. So if you are here in the audience as we are recording, or if you're watching it later, there's going to be a lot of different people who are contributing because we are going to be talking about 365 and why it's here and how people use it and how you can actually get the most out of your membership. We're also going to talk about what you can expect on site. So we'll have a lot of fun sharing testimony, sharing how this can impact your family, and we will go from there. I see notes coming in. We've got silent observers who are noting that in the comments. So I keep looking down. But first, before we dive in and see how people use 365, I want to tell you why there is a 365. Years ago, like back in actually it was 2015, maybe 2016, we came up with the idea of having a membership site because we were able to be with families for 2.5 days a year, but we had all of this stuff at our disposal that we wanted to share and make available so that families could kind of feed on it all year long. So when we first started it, it really was just to give people access to resources. Um, and we wanted to make them available at a lot cheaper. So when we first started it, and even today, you can buy a membership to 365 for cheaper than you could buy just a set of that year's recordings. And that was by design because we wanted you to get in there. We want you to take advantage of all the stuff that's there. So we started as just a resources community, but through the years, what has happened is the community has kind of overtaken the resources. So we still have access to thousands and thousands of resources. But what I hear over and over again is it's the community part that is really feeding people's souls. And with the community part, just like with the resources, you get out of it what you put into it. And so at various seasons, you're going to probably be investing more in it, taking more time with it. And at others, you're kind of probably going to be in the background. And that's fine because it's here. It's available for you 365 days a year to serve you in the way that's best for your family. So what I wanted to do today is rather than me tell you all of the stuff about 365, I wanted to let some people who use it and who actually have gotten really involved in it. These are members of what we call the leadership team because they really help me. They encourage me. They lead small groups. They are very vocal in ministering to other ladies just by stirring the pot and having conversations and praying with people. You'll see them on site being very knowledgeable and very helpful. So they're going to come in and tell you a little bit about how they utilize what is here and what kind of a difference that has made for their families. So because we are so very organized, we don't have an order for the way that people are going to talk. So I hate to call you out. If you are ready to go, just unmute yourself and come on in. Or I will call you out if you do not. And I can see you.
Okay, I'll go first. I know you're shocked that or anybody else will. So I
make sure you tell everybody who you are first.
I'm Cari Britt. I think I've been a member for 4 years maybe now. It seems like longer, but then it really hasn't been that long. But I'm pretty sure that my first convention was only the second year that y'all were in Nashville. Yeah. I don't think I made the first one, but I think I was there for the second one. And I don't remember how long ago that was, but I know that there were several years that I went and I always loved it. But it just felt like me going to a convention and doing sessions and stuff. So when 365 started, I jumped in with the Zoom calls that were going on. This was during COVID, so it was only Zoom calls. I jumped on those and got to know a few people, but really what jump-started me the biggest into really making connections was the retreat I went to in South Carolina, where I got to interact personally with the people that I had been interacting with on the app or on those calls. And it really deepened those friendships that had already started, on the app or on those calls. And then when I went to convention the next year following that, then it was kind of like this family reunion where I had people that I was already connected to, and I was able to interact with them as I was passing. All of a sudden, I had people I knew passing through the hallways instead of just hundreds of strangers passing
Mm.
me in the hallway. And so that just kind of I wanted to go more into it to be able to make deeper connections because the friendships at the retreat. I really feel like for me personally, the retreat is the thing that makes those friendships the deepest
Yeah.
because in the weekends, you get past that surface level kind of quickly, in my opinion. Even if you're introverted, I've seen people who are very introverted get past the beginnings of the uncomfortableness of not knowing people, and we get really deep quickly, but not in like an overwhelming way, but in a way that just makes you comfortable and you feel like you're with friends that you've known your whole life and you can share and you feel safe to share. And so my personal opinion is the retreats are the way to really make deep connections and the in between the convention time. And so then I've done other community groups and things like that. And I've actually gotten to know several women in a way that things that I have walked through in the past couple of years that have been really difficult. There's been some really smaller groups that have broken out that I've come to depend upon for praying for me, for encouraging me when I'm getting distracted. They pull me back, my focus back on the Lord. So that's just my personal opinion about what's the best way to get really close relationships.
Yeah, I love that. And the retreats, it's hard to overstate the impact of those retreats, because you really are, you're living with people for 2.5 days, 3 days, whatever. You're laughing, you're crying. It's so easy to share your story because you know that you're sharing with someone who will understand elements of it and really feel with you for the parts that they don't. And then you're always turned right back to the Lord, and your focus is put back where it should be, and you're doing that with others, and it is a phenomenal time. So yeah, I totally agree, that the retreats are amazing, and I'm hoping that we're going to be able to do even more. We plan to have all of those planned out before the event so that you can go on and sign up at the event in Pigeon Forge and Branson for next year's retreats, which will make it a lot easier to plan. So stay tuned for that. Who would like to share next?
Well, Irma ran away, so I guess
Well,
I'll
she's
go
doing her
next.
Uber duty, she said.
Yes. I'm Brandy Abrazino, and I have been around TTD since actually it started in Spartanburg, South Carolina. And so at that point, 365 was not even in existence. You would just attend the conference and you may or may not meet people. So if you met someone new, the odds are, unless you exchange phone numbers, you wouldn't speak to them again until the following year if they came. So when 365 came around, I was so excited to jump in, because I met such great people, but I had no way to connect during the year. So I got started building community, with what is now like the Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday group. I dove into one of those groups, and slowly a little bond grew between about 7 or 8 of us. And so we kind of broke out of that large group and started building our own bit of community, with a private texting group. And that has grown exponentially, in terms of our friendship and our walk with the Lord. Just like Cari was saying, those are the ladies that are my first phone call whenever something goes awry in life and I just need somebody right now. Those are the ladies that I reach out to, which is crazy because we're like Oklahoma, um, Texas, Tennessee, I'm South Carolina. So we're all over the place, but yet the closest of friends. Um, and that is what spurred us on to go into retreat, was because we had so much fun, on Marco Polo and texting, and our husbands would be like, who are you texting all the time? And I'd be like, oh, my friends. And so we got to go to retreat, and that that just multiplied how close we were. And now it's to the point where, we're making time on vacation to stop and see these friends and stopping in each other's house, when we're passing through towns. So I can't say enough about the community that has grown out of 365. And the friendships that I sincerely think will last an entire lifetime.
Yeah, I love the fact too that people get overwhelmed, and there are like, if you just look at the membership numbers, now it's like a church, not everybody's actually seen, but there's like 1,500 members of 365. But the plan and the hope and the prayer is that you find your 8 that are actually your people that you can really get close to. Because you can't be friend, you can be buddies and get in the chat and have a lot of fun with as many as are there. But to find your people and those people that are going to hold your arms up and be your first call when you need prayer, or when you need ideas, or when you just need to rant, because let's be honest, sometimes we just need to rant. Um, we want to make sure that there's opportunity, many opportunities for you to find those smaller groups, because it's really, really important for your health to not let yourself be overwhelmed and trying to be all things to all people, but rather find the people that you can most connect with, you can invest in, they can invest in you. That's how God wants the body to work. And this is a great way to do that. So thank you for bringing up those smaller groups. That's one of those things that happened organically that I think is so awesome, the way that God has grown all of this, and just shows, um, this is truly His, and He is doing pretty amazing things through it, and we're very grateful. So thank you for that. Cami, did you have anything that you wanted to toss in?
The community groups, like Brandy was talking about, are amazing. And they're definitely the backbone. But I also really enjoy all of the things like this with the office hours, the real moms, and the monthly video and all of that, because sometimes during the week, I think we just need that extra little, hey, you're doing the right thing, you're on the right track. Just those reminders of what our mission is. And it's kind of like, we go to church one day a week, but throughout the week, we're reading our Bibles and praying, and we're, kind of like preaching the gospel to ourselves or reminding ourselves of those things that we need to know. And that's what all of those live videos like this are for to me. Watching the monthly video, a lot of times I'm doing laundry or washing dishes or grading papers that my kids have done, stuff like that. So it's just kind of whenever I can get to it. And it may not be the same week, but that gives me ideas even when I'm doing that, of like, oh, that's something I can talk about at office hours. And there are times when I've come to office hours or real moms, and it may not be something that kind of jumps out like I want to get answers to or anything like that, but it's just being there and hearing other people. Usually I always get something out of it, even if I didn't have a question or anything to bring to it. What other people end up discussing is usually something that I needed to hear. So God has a way of working through even that. And it's, even if you can only join for 30 minutes, I mean, that's 30 minutes that you're taking to remind yourself, here's what I'm focused on. And it kind of recenters you and reminds you of those things that you need to be doing.
Yeah, I love the interaction of these live videos because, I don't have all the answers because I haven't been in all the situations. And yet it always is amazing how God just happens to have on the call someone who does have the right answer. And He's so faithful like that. But like you said, these are such good opportunities to just get kind of that shot in the arm, that refocusing, in little bite-sized pieces, and seeing other really normal looking people who are taking 15 to 30, 45, whatever minutes to hang out with you as well. It's kind of nice to see, and all the little kids' heads popping in the frame, and just it's awesome. It is awesome to get together like this. So yeah, I thank you for that. My prayer is that the office hours and the real moms and the monthly video are just little snippets that help you all along the way. And then we've got the vault that has access to a ridiculous amount of content, but it is searchable and it is available whenever you need it. And I've heard from so many people how, they'll be doing laundry or dishes or driving in the car or whatever, and they just kind of handle them as podcasts. They just listen and pause and go back and listen again. And so it's just a really good way to allow that vault to fill in whatever gap you may have at the moment, whatever question, whatever need, whatever reminder. Sometimes it's a session that you've listened to before, but you're like, oh, I just need to go back to the well on that one, get a little reboot on it. I've moved away. Do any of you guys have anything to share about the content or how you utilize it? Any tips on that? Any specific ones that have stood out and made an impact to you or for you through the years?
I can't say anything has necessarily stood out to me, like that comes to the front of my mind, but we're entering a new season of like research papers for high school and things like that. And it's so awesome to have the content to be able to point my teenage daughter to and know it's going to be safe to listen to without setting her loose on a Google search of whatever the topic may be. And so it wasn't that long ago. I was like, okay, we're doing this research paper. Y'all help me find some sessions. And she was able to listen to 2 or 3 to help build that research paper. So it's not just for me, it's for the kids too, which I think is totally awesome.
That is awesome. And there are several of the speakers that on-site kids flock to. So even if they're not working on anything in particular, Mike Snavely is going to be entertaining for a kid no matter what. Linda Hobart does some that teenagers love. So, there's a whole bunch of the speakers that the kids on site just really gravitate to. So yeah, I appreciate, I actually love the fact that you've set your teenager in there to find stuff to help her do the work that she's got to do. That's super cool. Any
Yeah,
other
so
thoughts? Yeah.
we listen to it in the car a lot because we drove back and forth to my dad's a lot. So it's a 3-hour drive. And when I first started listening to some of the things, I assumed the kids had their headphones on and weren't paying attention. And then all of a sudden I would hear, oh, that's really good. I need to write that down. And I'm like, what? Are you listening to this? And they're like, yeah, I like them. Who's that? I want to go hear them speak next year, So they're listening even when I don't realize it. So I've started letting them, hey, we've got a trip coming up. Anybody in particular you want to listen to? And they'll pick out a thing, or sometimes we'll go to the podcast and they'll pick out a topic, from the podcast that they want to listen to. Of course, my kids are older, so they're 13 and 15, so qualify that. But yeah, so they've enjoyed doing that, which has kind of surprised me that they want to listen to something more educational than play games on their iPads.
That is so cool. That's just awesome. And Brandy noted that Sherry Seligson is another one of her kids' favorites. She's awesome. I mean, she's just one of my favorite people on the planet. So she's super, super cool. Anything else? I want to move on here in just a second to telling you a little bit about what's going to happen on site, because we really want to make the on-site experience just cement those relationships that you're making through the year. But I also don't want to cut off any of this other conversation before. So no matter, if you're in here and not one of the ones on the leadership team and you have something to share, I would love to hear it. Cynthia just noted that once while dealing with preteen emotions, she needed a timeout. She found a session on middle schoolers and went for a walk. When she got back home, she felt completely different. And again, that's what it's here for. It is here to be just what you need at any given moment, and not here for you to look and say, well, I can't get through 3,000 videos and audios. Of course you can't. But when you need a middle school session because you feel like your middle schooler is losing her mind, because she probably is, this is a great resource to equip you to come back renewed and refreshed, and actually with the information that may help you go for the heart of the matter rather than reacting to what you see. So thank you, Cynthia, for sharing that. Any other stories, or, you can put it in the chat or put it, or, tell us this way.
Leslie, I was going to say one of the benefits of the vault is when we go to convention, a lot of times we pick sessions based off of where we are right then, right? Whatever your kids are educationally or emotionally or spiritually or wherever we are. And that's for those few days. So we focus in our time on sessions on that. Well, then we have a whole year that goes around, and a lot can happen in that year. So the benefit of the vault is all throughout the year, when something comes up, you can go and search and get what you need. And it's not I have to wait until the next year when I go to convention to hear something about that. So to me, it's just and even going on the app and saying, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Does anybody have a good suggestion for a speaker? So even if you don't know where to begin, you go to the people who have the benefit of being in the 365 app, is that you can be with people who have gone to all these different sessions, because we can't go to all of them. There's too many, and then sometimes you go, I know I've gone to convention with a plan, and then I hear one person and I'm like, I need to hear everything that they have to say. So then the other things that I wanted to hear, I didn't, but I can go back and listen to them, which to me, it just kind of frees you up to be more flexible at convention, but also be flexible with how life changes throughout the year until convention around again.
Well, yeah, and to your point, the reality for your family the first week of May can change massively. Like the maturity of your kids, the way that what is actually going to meet their needs actually can shift over the summer. It's when they go through those growth spurts, those maturity spurts. And so to be able to kind of go back and pull stuff that is relevant to this new season that you've all of a sudden dived into that you weren't quite ready for is pretty powerful. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. Feel free to dive in on any other things that you have to say about that. We're going to open it up in a minute, but I do want to spend a few minutes talking about on-site, because one of my favorite things is seeing 365 members moving together in like clumps all over the place, sitting at the booth, talking, chatting, laughing it up. This year we have full badges that are different colored that show that you're a 365 member. Nobody will have one like it. So we want to make it as easy as can be to find your people, your 365 members, but we also have some great things that happen at the booth, around the booth, and Cari Britt is going to be the one who's really spearheading that. So I wanted her to share with you a little bit of her vision around what the Teach Them Diligently 365 booth is going to look like, feel like, and why she is thinking in that way. We are still trying to refine all of the details. So because of me, she's a little hamstrung to tell you a lot of specifics, but she can tell you her vision, and I love her vision. So I wanted her to share that with you.
All right. Well, I really love being able to get to know people within, we see them on the app, but I really enjoy at the booth having the chance to interact personally with so many different people. And so my vision for the booth is that it's a place for the members to come get together. I would love for it to be a place where groups of people who already know each other come to gather to meet. And I want it to be a place where new groups can form, where people come. And I love being able to, one of my favorite moments from last year was being able to talk to a mom who was at her wit's end and didn't know what she needed, but she just knew that she was struggling, right? And another member was with me, and we were able to just sit down and talk to her and let her share what her struggle was, what was on her heart. And then we were able to pray with her. We were able to encourage her. That to me is what it's about, being able to solidify those connections, to give us a place to to then go back out refreshed to homeschool for another year. But I want our booth to be a place where ladies can come and interact with each other, ask questions, hopefully get answers. I can't guarantee I'll have all the answers, but I can ask others. But I love interacting and connecting with people. I love hearing people's stories. And I love talking to people. So if you need somebody to talk to, I got made fun of a little bit last year for our introvert extrovert thing. We did our mom's night thing where we had actually labels to say whether you were somebody who loved to talk or didn't love to talk. They were colored like green and red and yellow, and I had a couple of greens on. So need someone to talk to, I'm your girl. But I do want it to be a place where if you have questions, or if you do need someone to pray with you, if you need someone to encourage you. But I really love seeing the groups come together to take pictures. I'd like it to be somewhere that, y'all would want to gather to take pictures, because I like to be in the middle of everything. So I like to see all of that. So I want to make it somewhere where everybody wants to come and gather. I don't know if that's nosy or just really enjoys being a part of things, but I don't know. Was there more than that you wanted me to share about that, Leslie?
Well, no, I think one of the things that has been really cool that has developed over the last several years is that, again, so much of this I didn't plan in advance. Like I didn't even think of how this could impact things, but so many come, and every time I walk by, they're hanging out in the 365 booth because they know that any sessions that they miss, they can always get. They can always catch it up later. They're going to be in the vault like within the next few days. But that time to spend with those people is very, very precious. And to see people prioritizing those relationships and really investing in each other and investing in praying with and getting to know and laughing with and helping and just being together is one of the most beautiful things that I have ever seen. It is just so exciting for me. So I love the fact that it has become, the 365 booth has become this gathering spot. We're trying to make it bigger this year. And so there will be more space where they're going to be out in the hall instead of in the exhibit hall this year, at least for sure. In Pigeon Forge, it's going to be a big corner space, it looks like. So we'll have lots of room to move around, but it also means it'll be open and available even if the exhibit hall isn't, which will be a nice place for a catch-all for all of us. And then we also, and this you can talk to a little bit, or if you're not comfortable, I don't mind to take it over. We try to make it where that is a space where, especially some of the speakers that don't have booths, some of the bloggers and some of the speakers that are just kind of passing through, they will go there to talk to our members, or we'll shift into a room to just kind of have some informal Q&As. All of that is also an opportunity that only 365 members have, along with our keynotes. 365 members also will have access to them. So I didn't know if you wanted to elaborate on any of that, Cari, or kind of what you're thinking on any of that.
Well, I haven't nailed down the who's yet, but yes, having a place where people can come and chat with some of their favorite speakers. I think that's been something that was enjoyed a lot in the past. So hopefully with a bigger booth and more room to come and gather, that'll make it easier to do that. But also still feel kind of intimate and a place where you can really feel like you're a part of getting to know the speakers better. So yeah, we're working on a list of people to have there. I don't have the final list yet, but I do know
that's on me. That's on me. It's not on her. Yeah, and we also had talked about, not like last year, we put those meetups, those Q&A times with speakers as a more formal thing and put them kind of along with the session schedule. We talked this year about making them a little bit looser, more informal, and kind of off of the main session schedule. So we'll sneak into the room that's right beside us, because we can't all fit in the booth when we're having a gathering like that. But it will just be a more informal time to just get to know the speakers in a small group way that you wouldn't have access to otherwise. So there's a lot of benefit to just seeing them just authentic, raw, answering questions off the cuff. You learn a lot that way. So we're hoping to make those opportunities very available for you. And then also with the speakers like Ben Carson and some others that don't stay there for the whole weekend, they're just there on a limited basis. We are able to offer 365 members and their family time with them in particular. So that's another thing it's nice. It's nice to have access to people like that you can ask some additional questions and get a little bit more of a sense of who they really are. So all of those things on site actually do lend itself to that community element and really allowing you to go deeper while you're on site. Again, I'm very excited to have the specific badges for 365 members. We did that several years ago, and honestly, we stopped because it's hard to figure out how much we need, and we just decided we like it better, so we're going back. So 365 members will be very easy to see by just the badge. So we for the last few years, we've gone with stickers and stuff like that, but that's hard to see. We wanted it to be very easy to connect with one another. And so that will be the case this year. I think we've covered really the high points of why 365 and how you can use it better. Do any of you guys have any questions or anything to add to, what we've said? Anything that you have noticed? I know Jara had noted that she is rarely able to get in the chats and have only made it to one TTD event, but the prayer warriors that she's met through 365 really rally when needed. Jara went through a really, really difficult time. She lost her son, and there was a lot leading up to that. And we were privileged to walk alongside of her from all over the place. Even though we weren't able to be there and hug her in person, the Lord brought her to mind, and she was prayed for from all corners of the states and several places abroad, I'm sure. So it really is amazing how small the world can be when you connect with the right people. And so that was another testimony that was kind of shared in the chat that I wanted to pass on to you. Before we cut the recording though, does anybody else have anything that you would like to share or any questions about how you can use it or any things that you've run into that you think would be beneficial for others to hear? Because if not, I will just cut the recording and we'll just chat. Because if you're not coming to Real Moms, we cut the recording and then we chat. So you're missing out. Any questions? Yes.
I just want to encourage people to use it. I was one of those people that my first year of membership, I wasn't even homeschooling at the time, so I didn't even look at anything. So this spring, my renewal came up and I decided I just need to start using this. So I don't even know what's out there, but so far what I've seen has been very good, very helpful, very encouraging.
Praise the Lord. Well, and it's been good to see you around too. I have enjoyed it. Anybody else? All right. Well, I am going to cut the recording then and wish you guys a great day. I hope that I will see you at the events. I hope that I will see you at the retreats. As soon as those dates are finalized, we will let you know that, and then you'll be able to sign up on site for a discount. So yeah, all of that stuff is in the works, but please, please, please take advantage of what is offered to you in the way that makes the most sense for your family. Again, seasons change and we understand that. And no one is sitting there going, wait a second, I didn't see such and so weigh in today. Rather, we want to be there and cheer you on when you do. We want to have the resources available when you need them. And by all means, we encourage you to connect with a small group of ladies who can be your people, who can hold up your arms and pray for you around the clock and be those go-to phone calls when you're struggling or when you just really need ideas or encouragement. 365 is great for that. So I look forward to seeing you, Lord willing, in Pigeon Forge or Branson. If I miss you there, I hope I see you at a retreat real soon. Talk to you later.